Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian, the Three Topics Gamer here, bringing you another episode of the People's Questions, where I answer a number of questions that have been sent to me over the past week. This time we got about, I say, 6 questions, all from regulars. I didn't get any new questions, and I don't think I got any questions that were too out there. Oh, my mistake. I believe 7 questions, so even better. All from regulars. And I would say most of the questions that were sent to me in the last comment section are here in this video. However, there were a few that, I did answer in the comment sections, and I think only one question that was a bit too late. So, I'd say we're doing pretty well for this time around. So, starting more simple with the first question coming from Will Williams. And you want to know, how would I rank all of the Star Wars films, or, well, specifically episodes 1 to 6? Okay, starting from top to bottom. It's 3, 5, 6, 1, 4, then 2. 2 is definitely one I like the least by far. I mean, it's not a great film, but it's like basically anytime that movie goes to Anakin and Padme, that whole love dynamic, it just the movie doesn't work. But anytime we focus on just Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or anything any other character is doing, the movie's just fine. But once we gotta focus on Anakin and Padme, the movie just falls flat for me every single time I see it. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would rank the Star Wars movies. But how would you guys rank the Star Wars movies? You can add that to your questions in the comments down below. Next question comes from Phantom Sidious. You want to know, what is my opinion on the current rumors that Obi-Wan Kenobi series starring Ewan McGregor could be happening? Well, it would be interesting to see it. Phantom Sidious, I've been staying quiet about that because I want to wait till there's an official announcement. All we've been hearing is rumors and speculations, and then some outlets saying that, he's in talks, and I'm sure it's something that's going to go through, but I kind of want to wait till D23 and they make an official announcement. But to be honest, if it does go through, I'm really, really hesitant. Simply because this is not George Lucas's Star Wars, this is Disney Star Wars. And I'm telling you, they have not proven to me in all the years that they've had this property that they can do something good with Star Wars. They have yet to really do anything. I mean, their movies have fallen flat. I would say the best out of all of them is maybe Rogue One, but I think that was just a very, very soft and almost forgettable Star Wars film. I don't like the direction that they're going. I don't like what they're doing with this property in general. They have not proven to me that I can trust them to provide me with something that I can accept as Star Wars. So for them to want to tackle something that I think even people who didn't like the prequels, and there were a lot of people, I think almost everyone unanimously would agree that Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, was probably one of, if not the best thing that we got out of the prequels. And to see Disney tackle it, despite the fact that, since they owned Star Wars, they've gone to hell and high water to kind of ignore that the prequels ever happened, and now they want to start working on the one good aspect. I'm gonna admit, has me really, really, really concerned. Now, I'm not gonna answer the second part of your question in terms of what I would like to be interested in seeing, because that's actually a video idea. I want to wait until there's an official announcement. If I could actually write the Obi-Wan Kenobi series or movie, I know the perfect storyline to do it. I think that if, by some chance Disney were to hire me to do the story, I think this is a story that everyone would love, but I want to wait till there's an official announcement before I share my ideas. It is something that I do want to share, and I think that everyone would unanimously love it. So those are just my thoughts on just the current rumors about the possible Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Next question comes from silverfox. You want to know, what is my opinion on how Metal Gear Solid is today? If you're talking about the current state, it's not in a good state at all. I mean, Konami has just been screwing with this franchise. We haven't had a good Metal Gear Solid game in at least, I would say almost a decade now. I think the last good one was, I think, Peace Walker, maybe, if that came out after 4. But I would say 4 was the last good console Metal Gear Solid game. I don't consider 5 as even being a part of the series. But I've been hearing rumors that they might want to do a 6th one, but I would say the current state of this franchise is just not in a good place. I mean, Kojima's moved on. He's got Death Stranding coming out in a few months, and Konami has been just focusing on just doing whatever. So as it stands right now, I just don't think it's in a good position. Hopefully, I think Konami hopefully will sell and give it to anybody. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even care if Microsoft bought the rights to Metal Gear, and like the rest of the Metal Gear games moving forward would be like released exclusively on Xbox. I mean, as much as I hate Xbox and think it's a pathetic system, that's perhaps the one thing that would convince me to rebuy an Xbox, maybe, but that's a stretch. Next comes from the next viewer of mine, and you're going by the name of Blaring Scene 89, and you want to know, in my opinion, who is the better detective between Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes or Christian Bale's Batman from the Dark Knight trilogy? Oh, that's easy. Unanimously, Robert Downey Jr. No question. The problem with Christian Bale's Batman is he's not really much of a detective. Most of the detective work is done by either Fox or Alfred. I mean, when you go back, I mean, just give you 3 examples. In Batman Begins, when, you know, Bruce got gassed and he was knocked out, it was Alfred and Fox that, you know, analyzed Bruce's blood and found out that it was a weaponized hallucinogenic, and it was Fox who came with the cure to the gas. And then if you go into the Dark Knight, and then, you know, they're doing research and trying to figure out exactly who the Joker is or who his next target is. That was, though Bruce did have some influence in figuring out who the target was, Alfred was doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. And then the same kind of goes in the Dark Knight Rises, which I'm not even sure if he did any real detective work, because yeah, I don't think he did any detective work. I mean, he came back, he got his ass kicked, he got put in jail, and then he came back, and like the real hunting down of the bomb, that was done by Commissioner Gordon. And so if anything, I would even say that out of most of the live action Batmans, I would probably say that Christian Bale's Batman probably was the least detective. I would even say Val Kilmer's Batman was a better detective. It just, in terms of actually doing stuff to figure out stuff, I think that Christian Bale's just wasn't all that great. I mean, I think he's, you know, great Batman, but just not the best detective. As a part of Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes, everything he does is in his mind. And he's able to actually discover clues and figure out the next step. And he's able to plan several steps ahead, which, mind you, is something that Christian Bale's Batman only did really in, I believe, in Batman Begins, when he needed Gordon to drive the Batmobile, and he said, okay, can you take the Batmobile and can you destroy the subway rails before it gets to Wayne Tower? But that's about it. But yeah, if we're talking about who's the better detective, yeah, it's unquestionably Sherlock Holmes. Next question comes from ShadowDiestGaming, and you want to know, do I think that Warner Brothers wanted to buy Star Wars at some point, and had they, because they did have, you know, the Clone Wars, and I think if Warner Brothers had the money, they probably could have. I personally, I think Warner Brothers would have done a much better job with Star Wars than Disney has. But I think they probably just were a little bit too hesitant, and I think that maybe only Disney was really the only team who would want to take a chance in buying Star Wars at that point. But I do think that there might have been some ambition to try and get it, but they probably just didn't want to go for it. Next question comes from Brady Burick. You want to know, what is the best Versus Series episodes that I've made? I'm not going to go into episodes, but I will probably pick the one that stands out to me the most. I think, in my opinion, the best one I ever did probably was Cloud versus Titus. Simply because I think out of any matchup, I think that's the one that most people disagree with me the most. And I think that that's the one out of any other matchup I've done, that's the one I've had to defend the strongest, and I still stand by that result. I can perfectly understand where people are coming from as for disagreeing, but I think they're just being blinded by fanboyism, and they're not really understanding the character. And I think they missed the clear point of why I think that result is the way it is. I mean, in any other situation, and I even go into detail, I think that's like probably the third longest matchup I ever went into. But yeah, that's definitely one of my all-time favorites, and I think by the time I'm done with this series, which, you know, I might be done, you know, if we get to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year, then, you know, we'll definitely be continuing. But if the series does end, that will definitely either be my number 1 or number 2 favorite matchup that I ever created. And the last question of the episode comes from JBat, and you want to know, what do I recommend, what would I do to recommend getting more subscribers on YouTube? honestly, J-Bet, that's a question I've been asking myself for years. All I can do is just tell you, in order to get more subscribers, you need to upload. You need to upload regularly. I mean, you need to be pumping out at least 3 or 4 videos a week. You need to be consistent. You need to know how to use tags extremely well. You need to have very, very good titles. You need to have really, really good thumbnails. You need to start working with other YouTubers and making collaboration videos. You need to be sharing it on all your social media outlets. You really need to get your name out there, and you need to let people know exactly what your channel is about. And now you might not be able to do that with your name, but you know, having a really good brand name really helps. But it basically comes up to uploading and enjoying it. A lot of people that I've talked to have made it very, very, you know, it's almost a need that you need to be able to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're just uploading videos for the sake of uploading videos, then I think over time, people who are watching your channel are going to see that you're hard, or you're just not putting as much effort into your videos as you could be. And I think that when you kind of get into the zone, as I like to call it, and you actually are enjoying uploading your videos, then I think that will encourage people who do watch your channel to tell other people that they know that, you know, you should watch this channel, and then you'll get more subscribers that way. But that's all I can tell you. I can't say if that's a proven method, but that's just what I've been told. And I've tried doing that for years and years and years and years, and you know, that's how I personally have gotten to where I am. I just followed all those steps, and you know, anything's possible. No, anything's possible. I mean, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how people blow up or how people get more popular than others or how the YouTube algorithm works exactly, but you know, it's just hard work. I mean, that's all I can really say. And with that, those were pretty much all the questions that were sent to me over the past week. I'd like to thank the 7 of you that made your questions into the video, as well as everyone else that I answered your questions in the comment section of the last video. And if you have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But make sure you get them into me roughly on Wednesday before noon before I start filming the next episode. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.